Hi there, we're going to be doing our Pointillism Art Project, and the first step that most of you have already started is to do the 3 sketches of a ocean scene with a large fish or ocean creature. The fish needs to be large. You need to draw a background, and half the page should be filled with the fish itself or the underwater creature, and all you're using is pencil. So you can see I've done 3 sketches, the fish being the main thing in the picture, and the background has lots of lines and shapes, and the entire background has been filled completely. The next step you're going to do is pick one. After reviewing with the teacher, you're going to pick one of these to make larger onto your final copy. So I actually chose this fish, so I will be taking that, and I've already started it. I'm going to be redrawing it on a larger sheet of paper. And you can see that I've already done the pencil work, and now what I'm working on is taking the fine point Sharpie and actually going over all of those lines that I've drawn in pencil until the entire thing is completely covered over the top. All the pencil marks are covered with the permanent Sharpie. We are using a fine line Sharpie, and you can see that I have lots of little lines that are showing more detail in my fins on my fish. And I need to trace over all of those lines carefully. I'm skipping around a little bit just to show you and to go a little bit faster. But all of those lines need to be completely gone over with that fine point Sharpie. So after all your lines are completely covered in with the Sharpie, and I have lines going across as well, this is all the background space. Make sure I get all those pencil lines. So I'm continuing tracing all of those pencil lines with the Sharpie and making sure that the fish itself or the underwater creature touches at least 2 sides of the paper. I have it touching here and here. Miss Erin and I suggested that you make sure your fish or underwater creature touches more than 2 sides, and we're asking you to do that so that it fills the entire space. The background is not as important, and you're going to be filling that in as well with dots. So from this step forward, now what you would do is you would go back in and erase any pencil marks that you have, making sure that you cannot see any pencil marks coming through before you're actually going to start your pointillism dots, which we will be using Crayola regular markers to do. You will be choosing either the all cool colors for the background for the actual water part of the picture, and the inside of your fish or ocean creature will be done with warm colors. So the final step after you've traced over all the pencil lines with the fine Sharpie is to erase all the pencil marks, and then you're going to choose your warm and cool colors. We're going to use the cool colors for the background space, and we're going to use the warm colors for the fish or ocean creature itself. So you want to start with one or the other, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the background space. So I'm going to start with these long pillars in the background are going to be coral. And how you're going to start your dot process for the actual pointillism is you're going to be holding your marker upright like this, and you're going to be dotting with the marker standing straight up to the ceiling, and you're going to be using a very light hand, and you start in one spot and you lightly dot in a straight line all the way up one area, making sure you're not holding the marker down for more than a second. If you hold the marker down, it will actually bleed and it will leave a huge dot on your page, which is not what you're looking for. So you're going to be dotting slowly lining up the dots, going all the way down, filling up the space, making sure there's not too much white in between each dot, and filling up that space. You can see that I'm using a very light stroke. I'm barely tapping down the tip of the marker as I go up and down the page. And you can see it's making little tiny dots, and I am holding my marker upright. I'm not tilting it to the side and doing it sideways. I'm actually holding it upright. So you can see that I'm lining the dots. Now, if I start going too fast, those little dots are going to become smudges, and it's not going to look as nice. So I'm actually taking my time and going up and down almost in rows with the dots. So I'm using a purple color. So once I fill up this space with purple, I'm going to go back in and actually add more color to this space using another cool color. And I'm going to use purple in all of my coral on all sides of the paper. So this is an introduction to you seeing how the dots look. The faster I go, the more sloppy the dots actually look. So I want to take my time and go very slow. If you look closely, you can see that the dots that I've done on this side of the paper, I started going faster. I wanted to see if you could tell what it looked like, the difference between the two. These are slower, these are faster. These dots got bigger, these are littler. So the slower you go, the better it looks. So I'm also going to go in and add a little bit of this turquoise color inside the rest of that space. And once again, I'm holding and going slowly and barely tapping down as I touch down on the paper. I'm actually going in between those purple dots now and filling in with some green. I'm keeping my marker upright, holding the paper with one hand and filling in all of those white spots. So you get the idea. You're going to be filling in all of this background space with the cool colors, which is mimicking the water. When you're done with the background space, and I will show you mine in just a minute, you're going to be starting on the inside of the fish. So you might want to think about if you're going to add stripes to your fish or your ocean creature. You just start in one space, and you might want to use that same color for a while. So right now I'm using an orange, and I'm going inside the fish, and I'm using orange for this whole area. Now, if I want it mainly orange, I'm going to mainly use just the orange. But if I want it to have some other colors, at this point, I'm going to use some yellow. And I'm going to go inside and dot with yellow. So maybe the stripes are going to be all yellow and orange, and then the inside of the fish might be all red. So the biggest thing when you're doing the dots for pointillism is you should not have a lot of white space showing. And I'm going to show you in just a second what a final piece looks like. This is just to give you an idea of what we're looking for you guys to be doing. If you go too fast, it's going to look sloppy. So this is how you're going to be doing it. Cool colors in the background, warm colors inside the fish or ocean creature. Here's an example of mine that I have finished. And you can see that I did the cool colors in the background using greens, blues, and purples, and grays. I used purples and grays in my coral. And inside my actual fish, I used oranges, yellows, reds, and pinks. And I did some kind of a pattern. So I have the stripes coming through, and the tail is oranges, and yellows, and reds, and then the rest of the fish is pinks. The background is mainly blues and greens, and the coral is purples and grays. So you can see that I covered the entire page and that there's hardly any white actually showing through. When you are completed, your entire picture will be covered with dots. It should go all the way off the edge on every side. Don't forget, make sure you put your name and grade on the back of your paper, and when you're completed with it, you're going to show the teacher and you're going to turn it into the grade box.